Somos agua, somos tierra, somos fuego, somos viento. Este es nuestro rezo, sí. Aquí, Chicano, Mexica Connection. Rocco Pachucote en la Cali. Desde los barrios de Tenochtitlán, México, Los Ángeles, Califastlán, Kiba, Meteo.
Se estudiaron movimientos de los 4 elementos. Se tomaron los momentos para crear estos centros. Que los tiempos ni los vientos poderán con estos templos. Que no vengan con inventos, falsedades y con cuentos. Somos descendientes de una gente inteligente, utilizando siempre mente sabia como serpiente sabia. Toda la gente que no hay nada diferente, lo que ve, lo que se siente, espíritu presente. Fue invocado, llamado del otro lado, porque todo antepasado lo dejó aquí bien grabado. Que no fuera olvidado y que fuera estudiado, así todo lo creado sea elevado. Somos gente de ciencia honrando creación. Ciencia y religión siempre tuvo conexión. Y México, el ombligo con la luna. Como esta ciudad, no hay ninguna.
Ciudad celestial, corazón del mundo. Ahí es donde nació mi pensamiento profundo. Águila nopal, la voz del jaguar. Te escribo mis letras con pluma de quetzal. Mi mensaje es antiguo, te canto medicina. Yo soy como una espina, difícil de quitar. Yo soy como una rola de maldita vecindad. Enlocando la gente, te abro tu mente. Yo soy descendiente de esta tierra mexicana, aunque yo vengo del otro lado de Tijuana. La L, la A, Califastlán. Y los que no me crean, mi sangre es mi prueba.
Plazo Camadli, Ipalemowani, El Vu en la Calico Rocco, Tonali. From ancestors who are still with us, guide us, unite us, uplift us through a spiral flow, mind, body and soul, conected con elementos, luna y sol. From the future we flow, trascendiendo tiempo como los templos.
Ometeus, Omesiwa, Ometeus, Omesiwa, Ometeus, Omesiwa. Aho, aho. Aquí estamos, estuvimos y estaremos. Somos la semilla que plantaron los abuelos. Como pidió Cuauhtémoc, pasaron de padres a hijos el saber de los ancestros. Por los 4 rumbos propagaron este rezo. Pueblos indígenas, guardianes del tiempo. Cuenta de los días anunciaba este momento. Aquí y ahora, este es nuestro tiempo. El sol que nos alumbra, sol de movimiento. Somos agua, somos tierra, somos fuego, somos viento. Y estamos caminando en unidad y movimiento. La gente de la tierra ha llamado a la acción y por todo el mundo se ha escuchado su voz. Afila la palabra, cultiva la esperanza. Abajo y a la izquierda nuestros corazones cantan. Para todos la luz, para todos la paz. Por nuestra madre tierra y toda la humanidad. Mexicas y chicanos, juntos caminamos. El camino rojo, el saber del toltecayo. Somos flor y canto, sonido digital. Músicas nuevas, raíz ancestral. Aceptamos la misión, somos cantores de paz. Tlacuilos grafiteros, danzantes de ciudad. Somos flor y canto, sonido digital. Llamando a los hermanos, es el tiempo de unidad. Es el tiempo de unidad. Meteo.
Somos gente de ciencia honrando creación. Ciencia y religión siempre tuvo conexión. Y México, el ombligo con la luna. Como esta ciudad, no hay ninguna.
Ometeut, Omesiwa, Ometeut, Omesiwa, Ometeut, Omesiwa. Aho, aho. Ometeut.
Yo, LA Natives Podcast, La Saslan Native Podcast. What is going on?
What's going on?
Shout out to all the early birds that are just tapping in.
Right on. You know, the early birds are my favorite. You know, they get to see us, say hi to everyone, and, you know, kind of settle into the podcast. And, you know, they get to grasp the whole entire show. So
they get the early bird special.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like those are the ones that when you get to play a show and you meet them finally, they're really cool. You know, because they're invested in the show and what the message of the show is. You know, been trying to refine what that is, and we just came out of the Nemotemi, which is the 5-day fast. Lots of reflections. Lots of letting go, and some intention setting, some dreaming with power, because the power comes in what you gave from your own self, what you sacrificed to make those intentions happen. So we're coming out of that system, and it went really well. It always kind of creeps up on me. I'm never, you always try to prepare for it. Like, okay, I have one more day to eat or whatever. But even and for this year, 2 weeks prior to the fast, I was already eating late, and you were with me most of the time, and I wasn't eating till like 11.
That's right.
That already tells my body tells me just tells my body that we're getting ready to do this prayer, and I feel like I'm going to be doing this prayer for the rest of my life, because I figured out that the Nemotemi, although it is a fast and it is a reflective time and it is a time to let go, it's also a time to challenge yourself for the next year. Like, what am I going to give away? What am I going to put down that I feel isn't making me get to my full potential? That could be drinking, cannabis, whatever it is. You'll decide once you go through the fasting ritual. Focus, let go, clean your body. Then your body will feel stronger and will be up for the challenge to face yourself. I really don't need to do this. And that's when you get to the places where you get control of your diet, you get control of your emotions, you get control of these things. And although, we don't get me wrong, man, I pop off all the time, but I try not to. And you do these practices so that you can get to those places. So the Nemotemi was amazing. I hope everybody out there kind of at least researched it. If you have questions, just know you have 360 so days before the next one. And that's the way time works. Time works with that kind of a focus. It's consistent, it's constant, it's like the seasons. And when you're in time with it, and what I mean by being in time with it is doing a sacrament, something, you're giving something. And what is that? I'm giving my ability to eat and focus in on myself so that I could be the strongest intention out there in my world. Not in your world, in my world, So, yeah, Daniel was going to talk to us, and let me get him. I should probably text him because
Yeah, I just sent Daniel.
Oh, you sent him a new.
It's the same link.
Okay.
¿Dónde está nuestro abuelo, Daniel?
Shout out to all the early birds. Yo, you know what? Do us a huge favor. Make sure when you tune in, you hit that like button, add a comment in the live, share the video to like a friend or family member. We would appreciate it. This is, I think we're almost 3 years strong, right?
Yeah, man. And just reviewing, reflecting in the Nemotemi is like, we have a lot of content. We have a lot of group activity out there, a lot of followers that listen to our podcast, and they listen to,
You know what? People
whatever
are commenting
we're
right
sharing.
now. Shout out to the Elias Rojas. He says, "Oh, what's up, familia? Got my first jade necklace last month." See, those are the
There
type
you
of
go.
people that listen to this podcast, right?
Right. There was a Hopi elder that described how, our medicine men, the conquest is a narrative brought by the Spaniard, right? Or people coming from the church. But they have no idea of our mysticism. They have no idea how we thought of death, and how death was a part of life, and how we can hold back from coming back to life, because that's how much meditation and that's how much focus we've had on our herbs and our plant medicines and in our diets and our rituals and our chants. They have no idea how we understood the mystery of life. So they say, for the guy that got his first jade necklace, they say, the Hopis say, you know how they find you? They find you because they go, oh, there's a spirit right there. He's wearing a jade necklace. And they can see you from the spirit world. And they're like, oh, look, there's a guy out there who's wearing the medicine. He must be one of us. But it's not enough to get the jade, you know? The jade is good, great. We know who we are. Amazing, amazing feeling. But how they start giving you medicine is by trying to do the practices that they did. Then they go, oh, he's up at sunrise and he's wearing a jade necklace. Blessing. Gift. We don't want to say blessing because there's no blessings. There's no curses and there's no blessings. There's medicine that's given because that's how powerful those spirits are. Those spirits understand life and the spirit world. They took down their lessons. They applied them to every single life they've had. Are we on?
Yeah.
Are we still on?
We're on.
Oh. So I'm talking.
It just whenever you have a powerful speech, man, you know, the powers that be, man, they be shutting off our camera.
Well, hey,
You know,
we got to.
You know, Daniel did mention something about when we had Fidel on here, you know, they were kind of like fucking with our feed because
How
I'm
weird
sure
is
you
that?
know, Daniel dog, it's not hard to run this shit, bro. We just have like a simple mixer and we just go live and the broadband's pretty good. So is it my fault? Hardly maybe half the time. But yeah, there has been some situations where just the spirits
glitches.
that be just cut us off or some
We'll
shit.
blame that one on the feds.
Hey man, the glitch. Hey, as long as as long as we were still on, and you know, the chat got to hear it.
Nah, honestly, that's all that matters.
But
We're here
you
for
know
chat.
that's what I think that really getting into the depths of what we are in terms of indigenous or philosophical or warrior perspectives and science and math and all that stuff applies. And it's a lifetime. It's like a treasure. It's a cave full of treasure that just seems endless. You know,
That's
which is
funny.
our culture, right?
You know, Ruben, it sounds like you're describing one of your early songs, man, when you just, you enter the dome of knowledge, and I
Yeah.
forgot if it was the which the enter the temple of man. I remember you were talking about that. It was like, oh, it was cool. I had the image in my head when you were singing it.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. If I remember the verse, I'll
Yeah, no, but you're right, the brother. Like
deep in your mental is a hidden temple. Clear away the nonsense.
unleash your potential.
Potential.
Damn.
That deep in your mental is a hidden temple. Clear away the nonsense. Unleash your potential.
Yeah,
Right.
brother. You drop shit like that. And I remember too when initially when you were talking about Huitzilopochtli, you were the first person that said it wasn't the god of war, and I thought, oh shit, who is this guy?
Yeah.
It's
It's our will. It's our will. And the war is our life.
hello. Every day we battle.
Right.
And
That's
every
why it's a
day-
never-ending battle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and who's your enemy?
Yourself. Your biggest enemy is yourself.
Right, right.
Now, and so we get to that point, right, where the biggest enemy is yourself. But then when you defeat yourself, which is a very big feat, right? Are you going to use it for your ego, or are you going to use it for your community?
But when do you know that when do you even know that you have defeated yourself? What would you say?
In your action.
Yeah, because I was waiting. What does that
Your
mean?
actions.
Defeat yourself.
Like in your actions are defeating yourself. In other words, you'll know that having it's when you lose your self-importance. Okay. Defeating yourself, you get deeper into the understanding that life is not permanent. We all feel like life is permanent.
Yes.
But it's not. So then you have to be humble to the experiences. Why would you get into an argument with someone who you know you're not going to change their point?
Hey, hold on, Ruby. I
Mhm.
think. Look at you. You tapped on something with me because man, you know what happens, Ruben? Though, and you got to know this. When love is involved, all logic, everything goes out the window,
That's true.
brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I say this because you bring this up, and think about the new year. And I think I was sharing with you this morning, man, just personal and life shit. I just had a rough morning, man, and I had a rough day and a half, and then I don't know, man, I wasn't feeling good, and I just what I do when I'm not feeling good, I went to the backyard, I went to the garden, I went to my garden, and then Ruben, what did I find in my garden? What did I tell you I found in the garden?
The hummingbird.
Right, there was a
Yo.
hummingbird in my little garden, like, I have a little indoor, and so I just thought, "Man," and I went over, I thought, "You know what, man, I'm gonna help the hummingbird out, let it get out of the garden." So I went to go grab a stick, as soon as I got it, man, it just flew right out right when it came back in, and I thought, "Oh, man," it changed my perspective, man, all that caca I had inside, I just squashed it, man, I just thought, "Man," and it just from that point, the rest of the day just shined, and I just thought, "Man, give thanks to Huitzilopochtli," my hummingbird on the left, my heart.
It's crazy. I have a crazy little hummingbird story. Um, my son was around 10 years old and he was in the driveway and he's all, Dad, look, look. And he had this hummingbird. It was a baby hummingbird that found out of the nest.
Oh, shit, in his hand?
Yeah. Sholo.
Oh, shit.
Sholo. He goes, look, look. And I was like, oh, I got excited. So I put it on my finger, a picture of it on my finger, but I was putting it into the nest, right? And it was a big, it looked chunky. It was like, it looked like the biggest one. Like it was the one that was being fed.
It was a gordo.
The gordito, right? He didn't want to leave the
Gordito.
nest, right? And I put him back on the branch, and he hops on and he goes into where the nest is, and he stays in the nest. And the mom comes and it's like trying to push him out, but he's not flying,
Tuvo mamitis.
right? So, but the cool thing is, when I was putting him back into the thing, I kind of with my finger kind of moved the middle, and I seen his heartbeat. Like it was crazy. It was the fastest thing I seen. It was like really quick and fast, and it was big. It was like a big bulge. It was crazy. And then I put him on the thing, and he goes back into the thing, and I saw the mom interacting. And then I came back the next day, and I wonder if he's in there. And I saw him in there. He was like this, and I put my finger in to try to get him, and it's just boom. It just fucking just bounced.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like I don't know. It chilled until it needed to, until someone threatened it, and it just fucking took off. Because everybody else was gone. The mom was gone, and I'm pretty sure the other because it might have been a two of them or one. I don't know. But it was like left inside the bush. It was
Right.
like a bush in front of our house. So I take away that story, and looking at the heart, I was like, wow, what kind of a will do they have to have? You know, like their heart is beating really fast and it's
Right.
big.
But remember, Ruben, I was saying they have to hibernate at night because their heart can't sustain them being without movement for that long of a time.
Uh,
So they hibernate at
wow.
night. So yeah, that's how big their heart is, and
yeah.
a very spiritual, But I was going to show you too, Ruben. Now that we're talking about it, 'cause it's kind of a good story because it's kind of like the beginning of the new year is like the hummingbird flying, like you said. And so I was going to describe it, or I wanted to bring the Tonal Machotlan. This is one of my old ones that, when back in the day when I would have art break, a lot of times I'd give it away or I'd just keep it myself. So this is a piece that I had. I liked it because it showed the color, and all the definitions and everything. But I was going to see if you could see what would be like the tail
Uh-huh.
and the beak of the hummingbird coming from the south.
I see. Can you shine a light on it?
Let's see. How's
Like
that?
like
Is that better?
uh it's like a flashlight or something or
Okay,
cuz
hold on. Is that better? Here.
no, like like the light you have in the back of you? If you
Okay.
could shine.
It's
You have an
above me.
extra one?
So well, anyway, but here, let me bring it up here. So let's see.
I think right there if you do it that angle, you're good.
Okay. Okay. And
There
so
it
Even if
is.
you have a phone, just flash a light.
That's a little better.
okay. And so basically, but do you see the tail here?
Yes.
And so that represents the tail. So, and the things that comes out of the south. So and then also too, so it's the beginning of, and even in the background when you could see the centerpiece. And so this is where it begins because this centerpiece we call it the Nawiolin because it's like us. It's got your arm and your leg out. We make the Nawiolin symbol, but it's also our belly button is the middle. And so let's see, maybe here. Does this work better?
Oh yeah, you can see it better. Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so let's see this. So the thing is, again, too, this doesn't have all the details, but again, too, there's the movements. It also represents the turtle, and so but also too, I wanted for the beginning talk about the middle because let's begin as we look at this. It's a big circle, so it's kind of like we consider this to be se, the first number. So it's like you said, we're just finishing the Nemontemi, so we're beginning the number count. So we begin this is se, the first count, Then we go to ome, ye, nawi, makwili. So it makes five, the five number counts. And so I just think it's kind of a nice place to start, and
Right.
like if you talk about the day, the word for day is tonali, tonali. And so this represents the day, the first day in the count, and so I just like the words have a lot of meaning, and so and tonal, like I've said on some other podcasts, is that tonal literally means my creator, my nana. And so the sun is our creator. And so what do you think? Questions, comments? But
Really dope. Really dope.
yeah,
Are
and
those
so
the only two animals that are visible like that, or are there other?
okay, it's a good question. But before we even jump onto other animals, think about your heart, because it's also the heart. Because in when I say the tonal machiotl, I'm talking about the heart of the sun, or if I say iluika po mochli, I'm talking about counting the star, the heavens, the count from the heavens. And so, depending on how you're looking at the stone, if you're looking at it metaphorically, it's a philosophy. If you're literally counting the movements of the stars and the planets, that's iluika po mochli. And then you can see it around there, the center, it's 20. The 20 count is when you do your birth date and your birth name, and that's really connected more with the moon. And so there was just a lot of circles going because we were counting a lot of the circles. And what I think is important, if you think about it, that base 20 is like us. If we've got, 5 and 5 on each hand and each foot, we're the base 20. We sit in the middle of the circle. And what's interesting, people say, hey, do you ever, you know, if you're in a square, like can you get out of the circle? There's a circle in a square. And so we're the people that have circles inside of squares. Does that make sense?
Mm.
Hmm.
I think
We're,
so. It's
we're the
kind of like that Leonardo da Vinci.
Yes, yes. He has a view of it, but we're beyond that because he's only taking a branch of it. It's like a spiral, but we're way deeper in the spiral, It's kind of like when we looked at the sun and the planets, we knew that we were moving through the galaxy, but that's a simplicity because if you think about the way we're counting time, we understand that we're in the new part of the year. Well, it makes sense. It's the beginning of the spring. I feel it. I feel the sun coming out. I just feel a different energy. And so from where we are,
So imagine the feeling you have, and then putting a ritual in front of it,
right,
right?
right.
Because everybody will feel that whether you're paying attention or not, that's up to you, right? How connected are you with the shift of time, right? Because I mean, the number systems coincide. It's like perfectly divided, like you're saying. We're in the beginning of the new cycle.
Yes, yes.
Although there are other cycles that exist within the cycle, which is I think it's
The
tona,
Tonal Puali.
the tonampuali.
And that's the thing too, Ruben. I think it's kind of important to think about it. Puali literally means 20, so the word Puali means 20. And so Tonal Puali is literally the sun's 20 count. And this is important because 20 is a very important number in the cosmic math in our world, but also the galaxy. These numbers fit into equations that our ancestors saw nature and they saw math simultaneously. And
Wow,
so
wow.
they saw things that and I think it's incredible. Like, if you ever look at a
No, it
pine
makes sense.
cone,
Not only did they put, would you say, the math in nature, right?
well, they put it together because they
Right.
saw math and nature as one. They saw
So
how it had a count.
the math is the science part of nature because they create counts when things bloom, when things change, right?
Right, right,
So
right,
the math pertains to nature in that way
right.
because We went through Nemotemi. Now we're in the first. We're in 11 Cali today, which in the I think it's this one's it's not the Tonapuali. That's the 20 day count, right? But then there's a 13-day count, the 260-day count.
Right.
That's 11 Cali.
Right. And so the
Oh,
thing is, brother, what is the counts are just counting on the sun and the moon. The sun's going to be the 360 and then 365, and then the moon's going to be the 260. And what's
there you go.
interesting about the 260 is
Perfect.
that it gets to 260 and then it begins to count again. And so that's why your name's never the same. It isn't a continuous cycle. But again, these are
Because the moon is the place where the spirit comes through.
right. Well, but bro, think about it. If the moon controls the womb, okay, women are on a cycle with the moon. If the
Right.
moon's not there, what cycle would the woman be on?
Right.
Think about that one. Because remember, in our language, Sewatl means the first one in water. So as soon as she's in water, creation begins, and even in our creation story, we go through these worlds and ultimately we come out of a woman. We don't come out of a man.
Mhm.
Hey, wait, why is there silence after I say that?
No.
Was there a
Armando
book?
was going to say
What's
that.
going on?
That was a lot to think about.
Was there
God.
was there a book reference? Because someone in the chat was like, "What was the name of the book?"
Oh,
With
that's
the book that said I came out of my mother. I'm not sure if it's. I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. I don't mean to disrespect, but it's just funny. I used to give lectures and I'd say, "Hey, did anybody come out of their father?" And sure enough, somebody, always a dude, yeah, I came out of my father. And oh man, all right, bro, stand up. You're unique. You gotta explain how'd you come out of your father. It's just science, man. And
yeah.
so I don't know.
I mean,
As a
the
machine,
mysteries of life have many complex layers to it, and
for sure, for
But
sure.
obviously the power of a woman, and I love women, and I'll never say that I know them or I understand them because I don't. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying that I don't have the voice for them.
uh-huh.
They have their own voice and they have their own complexity and they have their own cycle that, with the moon and all that. So it's kind of hard. That's why it's so important that we find one, because
Hey,
then they have their own.
They can.
wait, but hold on. But let me say something, okay? And
No,
it's
but
kind of
my point is this, though. Also, too, I didn't finish my point. Is that as special as they are, as connected as they are, we have our own version of it. You know what I mean? Males, right? I feel like males are the travelers of space, and the women receive these travelers of space because the males really bring the philosophy, engineering, you know, math. All that came from us.
right, right,
We have our own place and they have their own place.
right, right, right.
And yes, we treat them with reverence because they carry our delicate lives in their belly.
Right. Yeah.
Of course you give reverence to that, but not more special anything, energy or any of that, because I come with my own travels, right?
Right,
My
right.
own
Somebody
understanding.
said in the chat, "We come from our fathers, bro." See, they're trying to
What?
challenge you guys.
No,
Hey,
no,
hey,
no,
speak for yourself. But it's all good, bro. We can't. But the
no,
thing is,
no. But the chat is right. We have what, and it's not that we're dominant over women. We're not. We have our own medicine.
right, right,
Our own medicine is our ability to go deep into ask the questions that women don't really ask. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna talk for them. You know what I mean? I
right.
don't know what they would ask. I have to say that right there. I wouldn't even know what they would ask.
Hey, but
I know
Ruben,
what I would ask as a
right,
man.
right.
And as a man, I go deeper and deeper on those the principles of nature, how they affect us and how they affect our community, and how can I use them to build a place of comfort for the people that I love. That's a man's perspective. They have a very different perspective. They want to organize, they want to gather, they want to nurture, they want to give. Two different understandings, right? So that's why I'm saying, like, men, I can only speak for men. I don't know what women's experience is. And hopefully one day someone will be balanced enough to come into the LA Natives circle and speak for them. But I know that we come from many star systems where our spirit is just traveling.
Mhm.
Why do you think people like Sitting Bull get to walk on this earth? You know, these are the special warriors that come from these deep places in space and they land here. Or sometimes they will themselves here. That's who we are as men, I feel. That's what I feel. You know, women have their place. And I wish there was one here that could speak on that.
Well, are you gonna say? Let me just reference to the chat. I think what they were asking was what was the name of this book, and so it's Day of Destiny is the name of this book that I was holding up.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna say too. But I think that was what they talking about. But I was gonna just say that we are the people that we originally wrote the books in stone, and our people we had been sharing knowledge and carrying things for so long that they knew they'd already gone through book burnings and things where they destroyed books, so they knew that something was important. You put it in stone, and so I think we're really fortunate that we had stones, and that's the way we left our story. And if you look, the stone, you didn't need to know how to read it. You could, like we were saying, you could just see it, and so that's why our symbols are very similar to nature. They're trying to put symbols so that there's a lot of, I would say it's kind of a, we look at the stone and they ask us almost to use imagination, to imagine ourselves within the natural presence that they're giving us, and so, and I think that's why the middle kind of looks like us a little bit, a face. It's not, something because it's really. I look at the Tonal Machotl as a philosophy that my people carried forth, and it was important to them, so they put it in stone. And because they put it in stone, no matter how many times they printed the wood and they made those stories, the stone would live. And if you even see when it was found, it was buried upside down. It was hidden away because when the Spanish had come, they had seen they broke all their tablets, everything that they had valued. Spanish had no need for them. So quickly they went and they hid all the things that were of value to them. And so they're like seeds that you put in the ground. When the time is right, they blossom. And so this Tonal Machotl was flipped over in the 1800s. And then it turned out to be something that was saved because it was hidden. And so that's something that we today, we're blessed because you figure how many hundreds of years they didn't have this. They were just lost. As we were saying today, Ruben, Las Taslan, it's a lot like we sometimes may feel lost in this place, this experiment that they threw us into, but the land recognizes us. The land lets us feel at home because we are at home. We're at home here in Aslan,
Right.
Anahuac, the land.
That's right.
Celebrating the new year, the land celebrates it.
It
Feels
goes
the drum.
what Daniel's talking about is goes way greater than winning a war
Right.
and drawing up paperwork and going, okay, see, we won and we're proving us and here's our flag. And that's bullshit.
Well, it's a shift.
When you feel lost, the land will recognize you, bro.
Yes.
What do you think happened to us? The land started talking to us. Said, hey man, why are you walking around here like you're sad or you can't understand how to live in this society or oppressed, what people call oppressed. Oppression is you giving your own will to them. That's what oppression is.
Yeah. And on that, Ruben, think about it, the greatest tool of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed.
Right.
Yep.
So
The greatest tool.
so then how do we do that? What is our version of it? Is exactly what you said. Look to the land. Let it
I mean,
recognize you. Let it recognize you.
right.
Let it guide you. It'll give you it'll give sage in your path. It'll give you
Right.
all kinds of things will come into your path because the land's trying to remind you that you're a part of this land. That's
Right.
way further than declaring
Right.
that you live in Santa Clara County or you live in Los Angeles County by the order of this council. And what the fuck is that about? That has no relationship with the land.
Yeah, there's a big separation, Ruben, from the land and us as people. I mean, if you think about it, the campesinos are always their job, they're always in the land. And I know myself today, moving to the garden saved me and made my heart open up. It's like, man, you just gotta find your place, your space, because we all should cherish, and live in this beautiful world that we live in, but we just have to free ourselves of kind of
How
like
do we do the
imprisonment.
freeing though? What is the freeing? The freeing is the counts. The freeing is understanding the math, the counts. The
Right.
counts are important. The sequences, the numbers in which they switch. This is what will penetrate your understanding. Like I was telling people, oh, I do 156 push-ups a day. Why 156? Because I do a counts of 13,
Right.
right? I go, oh yeah, I do a set of 13. Then I do another set of 13. That's 26. I rest for 10 minutes, do another 13, then another 13. That's another 20, that's 52.
Right.
The math will start once you start using the number sequence of 13, 20, following the mnemotemi, all these things start to align because you're using the math sequences that were
Right.
developed thousands of years ago.
But in
This is
essence,
how we free ourselves. This is how we free ourselves. You free yourselves by controlling your diet. You free yourself by controlling what you do recreationally. You free yourself by controlling what you do emotionally. That's how you free yourself. There is going to be no war. Although they'll have their war. But there's not going to be a war where we all gather like the fucking X-Men and we're going to destroy the United States.
Right. Right.
You know how the biggest army is when you are all generals. You all have the skills. And I'm talking about women too. I wish I could I wish I could say, oh, I'm talking about women too, but I can't.
Yeah, but you know
Because
the
a
Ruben.
woman needs to say that. A woman needs to say that.
Right, but
I
Ruben.
got corrected a long time ago with that. And I'm never going to go out.
But Ruben, can I say something, man? I'm going to say something. I think something I was thinking about recently. You know what? I can honestly say, I could proudly say, Ruben, I do not come from a broken home. Okay, I don't. My mom was a strong woman, and she the oldest of 10. My dad was the oldest of 10, so I came from a family where my mom was like an example for me, of like, man, a warrior woman, and so I grew up with a strong woman, man. My mom taught me to speak up, to do your best, and be honest, like, man, and that's
Oh.
my hero is my mother, and it's like, and I understand what you're saying, man. I feel you because I know you're from your heart, and the thing is, we have to speak from our heart sometimes. Man, I miss my mother every day of my life, but
Just like I wouldn't want a woman trying to explain what a man does.
no, but you know what, though,
Like,
Ruben?
or because they don't have the psyche of us.
Right,
They
right,
don't
but you know what?
understand like how much sacrifice comes with our gifts,
Right,
right? They think like we're in this. Both of us are in a place of ego, like just in general, in terms of men and women, But once you get control of yourself and when you start to defeat yourself, then those type of emotional bonds and dysfunctional relationships start to fall off because you're focusing on you. That's irrelevant to anybody or anything outside of you. This
right.
is what you learn in the Nemotemi. You learn how to deal with you. Why am I screaming? Why am I out of control? I know and recently I've gone out of control.
Yeah, but brother, we all have. I
Yeah, I
think
think,
it's part of
all
it's part
along.
of our nature, man. Sometimes we're without guidance, brother. But again, too, man, if we come back to love, discipline.
Exactly,
I mean,
exactly. But the
it's
love of me,
right,
like,
but it's
what
a
are you
healthy
doing? Are you
love.
doing your push-ups? Are you doing your
Yes,
diet? Are you doing what is it that did you do? Oh, damn, I didn't take my minerals yesterday. Oh, damn. Okay, cool. I need to get back on this stuff. But
right.
usually, like, that's just a very loose example. But when I come off the Nemotemi, I'm fucking on it, bro. Like, I'm on my minerals. I'm back on my push-ups. Like, there was no fucking hesitation from the 5 days of not eating. Right? Because you're in a spirit at that point, you're like I said, you use the will of the shift of time and spring
Right, right,
to fucking thrust you into this dream that we call life that I'm in control of because I'm working on me
right, right,
and what I dedicate to this reality.
right, right,
And
right,
everyone out there can do that.
right.
Once you get into the number sequences and follow these principles. They're dope.
but to add on to that, do you feel like in essence, the essence of those numbers is structure,
Well,
because what it falls back on is having some type of, I mean, a schedule, or does it
Good
fall into
question,
that?
Sky. I like
no,
that.
no. That question is like, can I fit in this bullshit fucking society into this very complex Fibonacci understanding? You know, no, you can't. You have to use this to dominate this, not the other way around. Do you understand? Not to fit. Look, you're asking me the question of how, like, when you said schedule, I already knew you're talking about this society, right? Like, how do I fit it into my job? How do I fit it into my school? How do I fit it into whatever? You don't fit into this society.
Oh well, even in a more simplistic term, like say you get into gardening, there has to be some sort of numerology. I'm gonna water the plant at this
Oh
time.
yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna
no.
Right.
do this at this
You
time.
can use. That's what I've been doing. I did it with push-ups and stuff. But my point is, if we take the perspective of going, I'm gonna use this to better my life in this society. Maybe, yeah, you'll have whatever, but you're still living in that society. You still have that mentality of that society. You use these number sequences and these calculations to dominate, because they do dominate this society spiritually, philosophically, scientifically, botany wise, because the principles are based on nature: water, fire, wind, earth. See how they dominate this stupid capitalistic lies
Yep.
narrative? So the question is, you can't fit this complex understanding into this simplistic, greedy, on its way out system.
Well,
That's why you work on yourself.
okay, I was gonna comment, Sky. Okay, so when I think of the word 20, I think of the count of 20. Like to me, it's a Boali. Okay, so in my head, it's a human count. Like we're counts at 20, we're Boalis. And so what I was taught, and I remember this, that they use 20 because it's a count. That when you use it, you can go into the galaxy, and there's counts that it's the base count of a lot of counts. And that's last we were talking about the it was the Sontli. Sontli is
Simply.
400, so it's the next level. And so what I see it, and it's kind of interesting when I grow plants, I grow cannabis. So when I do plants, I do blocks of 20. For
Mm.
some reason, for me, it's like it's a random count, but for me, 20 is like I don't have to do 550. I just do 20. And out of that 20, I pick out the best. But for me, I use that 20 because it's like me, I can count that 20. And so I do that number code all through the garden. And so for me, because I like math, I didn't like it before, but now I understand it. I use that 20 to count faster and to count more accurately. But I mean, I see it in the Aztec calendar, in the Tonal Machotl. But here's what's interesting: when I was in Mexico, they taught us danza, and the danza would give you 8 steps and then 5 steps. 8 steps, and it's like, They said, "Yeah, you're doing a 13." I was like, "Oh, shit." And so the danza was starting to make up these number counts, and then it's like, okay, when you're doing the year, and then you already have these numbers in your head, and it's like, "Oh, shit, okay." Because if you begin to learn the numbers the way nature breaks them down, you'll put a word to it. Because like the word for 13, a simple word, it is maklakli iwanye, but there's another word for it. It's called tlalpili. Tlalpili is the little circle, and so tlalpili literally means 13. And so it's just as we use the word so many times, they become a different count. And so to me, I'd be looking at the math and like I was so bad at math, but it wasn't that I was bad at math. The math teacher didn't like me and I didn't like him. So it just never gonna work. And so this is me, is my fingers. And so I count that, and it's just, to me, it's a simplicity. But I understand too that, like, man, we can go on tangents on what the 20 means to you, but for me, I count 20s. I count, like the three of us make up 60. And so that's just how I count,
Right.
the way
Yeah.
I begin to count that way. But that's
And
how I see it in the year, and how I
Um,
apply the 20, but I
yes.
think Ruben's right. You just, man, their way they saw everything, they even built the numbers different because like
think about
Sunday,
this.
but those things are like
Think
7
about
days a
this.
week. How that
We're,
fit
we're
in,
talking about, Daniel's talking about counts 20, counts 13, understanding of this, right? We have a count that we follow, don't we?
Yes.
And let's break it down to the simplest count: the time. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's That's it. That's as far as we go. There's no counts of 400 in there. There's nothing in there. There's just go to work, go home, go eat, go shit, go whatever. But stay on that count.
Hey, but Ruben,
I'm telling you, our philosophies are far more dominant than
right?
theirs. There's this like weak wordplay, unsophisticated math, witchcraft alchemy
Right.
that they call science. Like that's it's not the
Bro,
same.
but it's a science behind money. It's more like, it's the way they count things. But again, like I was bringing up the dollar. Look at the dollar has above the eagle. Okay, it's got 13 stars and it's got 9 feathers at the bottom. So when you're talking about 12 and 12, that makes 24. Now, our world, Ruben, we had 22 dimensions, not 24. So there's 9 on the bottom and 13 on the top.
Mm.
So their time is close to ours, but it's not the same. And so it's just the way we saw the day. So again, dude, like we talk about time, even all this daylight saving shit. Come on, man. It's like it's just interesting because I look out and I think to myself, my
Wait
plants,
a minute. We're
they
saying
didn't, they didn't
daylight.
need a shift. They're still on the sun. And I thought, okay, they're just the plants are on that cycle with the sun. They're not on the daylight savings.
We're saying daylight savings, but what tells us what's daylight savings?
Oh Jesus, the radio, my iPhone.
No.
Isn't that farmers?
Like we follow the
Yes, it's
clock.
Harvard.
We follow the clock because we go, oh, we're gonna put the clock back 1 hour, or we're gonna put the clock
Right.
front 1 hour. See, we're still stuck on that 12.
Yeah. And it's actually,
Like,
what?
do you guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
Like
what you're
we're
saying.
stuck on a fucking number system that goes up to 12. And
Wait.
then we go, wow, why ain't we so philosophical? And
Right.
why don't we have our warrior? Why ain't we building temples? Because we're stuck on 12.
Of the many reasons.
That's a good point, but it made me think about how like kids or most kids now despise math. Growing up, like you said, you hate
Hey,
math.
do you blame them? Do you blame them? I mean,
But
they can't. It's not tangible to them.
but
You know?
even on the flip side, though, everybody loves music, and what is music? It's just a count, right? Even
But
if you
you know
take
what,
it
though,
back to the
brother?
metronome.
That's a good point, but I don't think of it that way. But you're right. Although you get what I'm saying, I don't think of it that way.
Mhm.
But duh,
You
you're
know what?
right.
No, you know what it is, Sky. In my opinion, it's not the fact that the kids don't like math. They don't like fucking complicated math. They're like, I don't fucking want to do this. This is fucking complicated. Why do I have to do this?
Oh
Like,
man.
why do I have to divide a number and put a dot in it and fucking make it a super complicated? And I really don't even know what the
Hey,
equation
but you know what, though?
is
Hold on.
for.
I was a teacher, and as a teacher,
But when
man,
we talk about our counts, we're talking about star systems. Our counts make sense. If we're gonna get a large number, it's because we're fucking pointing at a certain place in the celestial. They're not just random numbers. That's what I'm trying to point out. These systems are broken down for us. These number counts are given to us on a silver platter. We just gotta follow them. Use them.
And Ruben, that's why I found that when I taught this math system to my
20,
kids, they
13,
embraced it.
9. What are the numbers, Daniel? 20, 13, 9, 7,
All the
4.
thing is, all you gotta do is just think of which count you wanna count, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's got a pattern to it, you know what I mean? It depends on where do you wanna go to the moon, the sun, to Mars, They were
Venus.
mapping these things, and those numbers, those destinies, those destinations had certain number counts, you
Exactly.
know? And so that's why we look at Venus, okay? Venus is to the west. So the Venus number, if you wanna trip out off it, it's 584. So trip out for that, 584. So 5 times 365 is 584. And I think it's 8. No, I'm sorry. 8 times 365 is 584. So
Yeah, because
basically,
every
the
8
ratio is
years
5 to 8.
because every 8 years, Venus is in front of the sun,
Yes.
and every 8 years, it's
You'd
in
sing
back
that.
of the
You'd
sun.
sing it in your song. It'd be
Yes.
part of your song.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying, Ruben, and it was Arturo Mesa, Gutierrez. He's the one that all his books, man, they're breaking that stuff down and like just note, man, you don't throw caca on someone like that. That guy's got years, man, millennia of time. These teachers should hold it down. So you know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
You got to respect the truth, man, and like the math is true. And I was gonna say back to this, Ruben, I used to teach, little kids this math system, and they were kind of amazed at how it was very easy for them because they're almost in the world of like math has to be hard, it has to be complicated. And it's like, hey, it shouldn't be that way. That's why we're where we are. That's why buildings fall and shit, man. People are like, math shouldn't be ugly or shouldn't be forced on you. You know what I mean? A good teacher can really help you unravel, and learn to be a person of learning, and not just
Because we
repeating
we
shit.
we took math as an abundant way of looking at life. We didn't go, "Oh, wow, okay, well, we have this corn cob, so let's fucking take off every corn cob and divide it by 2 and cut it in half and
Right,
and try to distribute it to all these people over here, and
right,
oh, there's another corn cob. Let's fucking cut that into 5.5, point
right,
6, 7, 8, 3." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We didn't think of that. We went, "Oh, shit, there's 20 corn cobs. Boom, that's 40. Boom, that's
right.
70. Boom, that's 80. Boom." Because we're feeding a community. It's not used to go, "Oh, look at all the numbers I can accumulate in my bank account."
Right, right. But I think that's what it is too, Ruben. People don't think of math the right way. They think of math as something they got to conquer through instead of thinking when you're successful, you need to know your numbers,
Just multiply them, bro.
Yeah, again, dude, but that's the thing. People like you just get feared, and you know what it is that I hate to say. I overuse this word, but it's trauma. People are traumatized about shit. It's like, man, you shouldn't be traumatized to just make simple, rational
I mean,
numbers.
think about it. You said young kids hate math, right? But rich kids don't,
Well, they know what it's used for.
because rich kids know what the fuck they have in their bank account,
Right,
how much dad deposited in there,
right, right.
Rich kids don't they love math,
Yeah. It's called financial
right?
literacy.
But us is
Yeah,
just
it
like,
is called financial literacy. I heard about that recently.
you know But
All
but
these
our
terms,
but
all
our
these
kids
shit
in
that
the
we don't have.
our kids in the ghettos, our kids in the poor neighborhoods, our kids but not in third world countries because they know their math. They go out and work, and we have to
They
fucking do
do.
it for their math.
Ironic.
Yeah.
The irony.
But,
Oh man, that's
kids
true.
here, we I bet you we could dominate, man. I remember one time I played a show at Semillas del Pueblo, and they were on the obelisk. I think it's called an obelisk, where they were counting with the
Oh, the
Takashi.
etiquette or
Etiquette, something like
the
that.
Atticus.
Atticus. There you go. And they were counting, and they were getting to like
Yeah,
3,000,
yeah.
4,000. And it's like, because they put these 20 sequences they go into probably the 400 sequences, and, fucking 4 times 400, that 1,600. And they're getting higher and higher and higher. And they just use those principles, right? So the base numbers are very important. And I know when I've applied this push up regimen into my life, and I did it with sets of 13 because of my 13 joints in my body.
Right, 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 right.
That's why we use 13 and we use 20, because there's 20 digits on our body. 20 times 13, 260, which is 9 months, which is the gestation period of a
You
human.
got it. You got it. All creation. Hey, but you know what, too, Ruben? There was somebody here that was showing it said 13 months, 28 days in a moon. Arturo Mesa says no, the moon has 29.2 days. He's accurate, 29.2
Mm,
times 20, 584. And so
Venus.
here's the things that in our math, it fits. Everything fits. The cycles fit within the cycles. It's just that if you don't follow our math, you need a leap year. If you don't follow our math, you need to but the thing is that the circle is the circles within circles. And so again, too, I think always refer to Arturo Gutierrez Mesa, and man, his books are very. Right now, I think there's one in Mexico City. They have a place that they're selling the current year. It has all this star counts and such.
But
It
let's
just
remember, and then sometimes we get into the debate of like, oh wow, it's fucking 28.7.837. Look, the numbers, they're important. We put a lot of emphasis on the number and the number sequence, but it's just a map.
right. Amen.
You have to feel it, like Daniel feels spring coming in, and like how
Right. Oh my God, so
brought
true.
in spring. That's how we know, and we use the number sequence to be accurate on the math. Now, we can be accurate to the very punto, to the point, but we need hundreds and thousands of years of focus as a community to get to those points. We shouldn't argue
Right.
those points. Use them and get as close as you can, man. As
Right.
close as
Right.
you can to it, because
Right.
it's a wave. It's a wave.
It is. It is a wave. And you know what it is too, Ruben? Is it like I mean, I think about something that's interesting when I know what Robin was saying. He said, man, think about it. He said that fire is the same fire that burned back in the day. And I thought to myself, damn, that's crazy. I didn't think about that. How those elements are father fire. Like, man, that created the Big Bang, and it's like, man, that's
I think he might have meant that, because that fire he was talking about was the fire we did at Plant Based Aslan, which
but
happened.
Ruben, but it's the same fire. No, it doesn't change. I'm saying it's fire. It's a
Mm.
spirit that is fire. You know what I mean? It's not a
Well, I
I
was
mean,
going to get into the depth of that because it wasn't just that fire, that particular fire that you're talking about. It's there's certain ways to start a fire.
right, right, Ruben, right, right,
And
right.
that connection that I think if we start this fire in that certain way, right? And anyone can develop their own way. It'll be your own spiritual
Right,
guidance, and it'll
right.
be your own teachings. It'll come to you as a whisper in your ear. Do this, right? And you trust it because it feels good in your heart. You see, the whisper in your ear makes your heart feel good.
Right. Now,
And that's
Ruben,
when you know you're doing it right. And so what I did with that fire at Plant Based Aslan, which happens the first Sunday of the month at Malinali, is I put a butterfly, a dry butterfly, cacao. I put copal. Or I don't know if I had copal. No, I put sage as the heart. Then I covered it with the kindling, and I used one small piece of wood to start this enormous fire. That fire has been alive for thousands of years. There has to be an intention to that fire. That fire was our communal fire to commemorate the spring as a Malinali community, here to heal ourselves and the surrounding areas that we live in. We have to take responsibility on our land by healing ourselves. That's how you make change. And you do it assertively. And you don't need to debate anybody because your practices speak for yourself. That's what I feel. I don't know. Got into one right there. But the fire, I'm talking about that kind of fire. You know what I
hey
mean?
man, that's all good. But Ruben, I'm talking about the fire that's like, the fire, like when you
I
go
know
to
the ancient thing, but we have to. It's not just
yeah,
get a
but you're
bunch
right
of
though,
just
Ruben. You
get
have to
lighter
start a
fluid.
fire too.
Let's get lighter fluid and start this fire
No,
here.
no,
Here,
yeah,
like,
yeah, I know, Ruben. But you too, Ruben,
I'm
was it
not
you that
saying
was
that if
saying?
that's the way you start, your fire is great. But remember that there's an intention and there's a connection. There's a connection with that. I'm trying to share what I do so that everyone can do it. You don't have to go find a dry butterfly. I just happen to have one. I just happen to have one. But
Ruben,
those
that's
are
the
but those
you're
are
right.
but those are the intentions. Like when you find them on the floor, that's how you find these things. Remember the earth. You just said it, Daniel. When you feel lost, the earth
Right,
will recognize you. How do you think it recognizes you? Oh
right,
shit!
right.
I went in my backyard and I found a dead hummingbird.
Shit.
Not that not is it. Death is a good thing. It's not. That's not a bad thing. Death is a good thing.
That
Death
actually,
allows you to rest and transform into something different. Death is a good thing. So it speaks to you by giving you things, by, oh, this butterfly. Wow, I found this beautiful butterfly on the floor. I'm putting it on my altar for that butterfly was on our altar on the altar for the shop for a year. So I put it into the fire because there is no attachments. We have a very short time on this earth to reach full potential. And if you follow the number sequences, you gain strength in your soul. You walk with confidence because you know you have an edge, even over the people that you say oppressive police and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, those oppressive police go drink beer at night, go eat meat, fucking stay up all night, do drugs. They never follow the counts. You can. You'll have an edge. You'll have emotional control. You'll have spiritual control. You'll have an edge. I guarantee it. What do you think, Dan?
No, I'm with it, man. Because I think what's interesting, you say, because this you're saying starting a fire, okay, and I think that you're right. But Ruben, I was thinking, was it you that was saying this? It was kind of interesting that they said like back in the day, and if it was a movie or they did something that showed that a woman from a tribe, her tribe had fire, okay, and so when that tribe, this guy met this woman, that her people brought this man's tribe fire. So you're making it, the way you're saying it's true, Ruben. You're able to make fire. That's the key, but it was a trip that back in the day before there was fire, the people that had fire had the will, had that, and really that's what I meant. Is it like that's that old fire that when that woman came with that fire, her man, she took him into the new era with fire. And it was
Mm.
like, man, her people brought fire. And I'm sure it was a Hollywood. I think they said it was like Radon Chong or something, but it was like, damn, and I don't watch movies anymore. So I don't really, but I thought, damn, that was a profound, because I mean, you know what I'm saying? But it's like you're right. You to make a fire is, and I remember as a little boy, my showing us how to build a fire. If you're out in the forest, like what you need to do to build a fire. And it was like, damn, but also, it's true. And again, I look in the chat too. It's true. Volcano, lava, like dude, it's
Mm.
just the old fire, and so it's got to be respected, man. But everything you're saying, Rube, it's so true because, and I remember in certain groups of people, man, to fire them wasn't no joke, man. Oh, you're a
No, it's
member.
not. That when
It's
you
a very serious thing, and so I guess that's all I'm saying is that I mean because to me, the fire, enthralled by it. I see it, and I just sit there for, I get pulled in.
it's
Sometimes I want to jump in, pendejo, but I just like,
Yeah. You
okay,
want
but
with the
I'm
fire.
just so intrigued by it.
Yeah. You know, when when you start to build fires with those type of intentions, and then the gaze of, getting lost in the gaze of the fire,
Right,
you start to see things, and then you go, "Oh, that kind of looks like a what's it call it?
right.
This kind of looks like a this. Oh, wow, that looks like a lot of people."
You're
Right?
funny.
And
I think
then
a lot of times it's the Molly Nolly for me, homie, that helps me think those things. But
true,
okay,
maybe, but then once that's kind of like the static in between the communication between you and the fire. You see
well,
the
it's what I
fire.
bring to the fire, right? It's my own,
Huh?
my own fucking, whatever I've got, right?
Well, yeah, you're right. Everybody brings their own
Right,
communication to
right,
that ancient communication, but you'll realize that that communication has no words. We're trying to communicate with something
right.
that has no words. How do it's like you trying to talk to a dog or a cat,
But Ruben,
and you
right?
think you're getting through with what your message is trying to say. So the only time that I think the connections happens is when you quiet your mind and you get rid of all that. Oh, that looks of this and that looks like that, and look at the color.
Right.
Notice the blue, notice the red, notice the yellow, notice the white. That's when you start talking to it.
No, I do. I feel that. Think about it, Ruben. It's the sun. It's the sun.
Exactly.
You know, the sun's the
Exactly.
fire. The sun's the fire. Exactly what you're talking about. And it's like all those colors. And think about it. We saw that we knew that we were from the fire or it was creation because we're the people of the serpent because the light comes to us in a serpent. And it comes in a long wave. And when it hits Tonatiuh, when it hits this, it becomes shortwave. And remember I was saying when you're in the desert and you look ahead and you can see these curvy up off the pavement. That's the heat coming off the ground because the light hits it. It's long wave, and as soon as it hits the earth, it becomes shortwave. And then we
Right.
use that's electricity. It's
Right.
strange.
I was about to say that. So we think that it's like fire, like the fire that I was just describing earlier. And it is. It is.
That's part of
That's
it,
that's part of it. But the electrical impulse that it has to the sun, I mean from the sun to the earth.
right?
And then it has that short wave. I think
Well,
which I thought, well, look at all the heat, but it might
right,
be the
right.
static that keeps us down, what we call
Yes,
gravity.
that's true. But here's the thing, too. But think about it. In the new year, this was important. This time was important to them to begin anew.
Mm,
So we're at the place where it's time to begin anew. To make remember time. What comes around goes around. And so we're people moving through time and we're spiraling forward, and so it's the serpent is carrying us through, and think about it, the fire is pushing us through, and so And again, too, that fire is also a symbol or a metaphor for death, life and death
Yes.
coming out.
Well, fire is life, right? And that's what the
Right,
sun is. The
right.
sun is a big ball of fire. But even thinking about after the fire, right? The smoke. What is the significance of the smoke have, right?
Right,
And then
right.
different cultures, right? You see some people burn incense, some people might smoke, right? Some people. So it's like there's so many different aspects when it comes to a fire, even starting a fire, building. It's like having a relationship with something because you have to keep feeding it, right? And it's a whole thing in itself. So just
It's also life, brother, you know what I mean? If you're cold, that's I mean, I one time was out camping and we were in Yosemite, like a bunch of well, not fools, but it was June and we got snowed in and all we had on were t-shirts and shorts. They're like, "Oh shit." And we just had to collect a bunch of wood and just burned a fire for like 3 days. And I mean, we didn't die, obviously, but you know, dude, I was like tripping, man. Like it was cold, but the fire kept us alive. And it was like you were saying, I look back and like freezing my ass. I look at the fire, going, "Why the hell I do this?" You know, like it just like, but that's it's life, man. It just life is so precious, and the
yeah.
fire will show you
Someone in the chat says fire lights my cannabis, and both go into me. Good
that. Me
medicine.
too. Hey, but hold on, but I also have the electric one, so electricity
Mm.
helps me burn the wax.
And that's the next comment. Isn't spirit interconnected to electricity?
Oh,
Yes.
That's
for
crazy.
sure.
Just talked
Absolutely.
about it.
Absolutely.
Because we're liquid. Think about it. If we're 90% liquid, that's how the stuff moves through us so fast. And that's how you know from the ocean because our cells have salt water in them. There's
Mm,
just certain truths that are like, man,
But not only that. When you have a high mineral diet, those minerals go into the cell, right? So you're more metallic inside the bloodstream. The bloodstream will attract the electricity. That's what makes you full potential. That's what gives you will and strength.
right, right.
You can't eat bad food and expect to
Of
have
course.
the will and strength of
Right, right,
people
right,
of the past.
right, right. You are what you eat.
It was a math equation that involved the electricity and the spirit of electricity because electricity is unbiased.
Yeah, right. Good point. Good point.
It's unbiased.
But I think too,
So think about
electricity is
so
like
if it's unbiased, if electricity is unbiased, then a woman can achieve these full potentials, a man can achieve these full potentials. It's unbiased. It's energy. How are we trapping the energy? In our Kali, which is our body.
right.
Today is 11 Kali. How are we capturing this electricity? Why are we tired? We should be full of life. We should be thriving.
Right, right.
Let's use the electricity and the principles and the number systems and change our reality for our community,
Right, right.
not for ourselves, for our community. You know, that's the way I feel.
for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, for our future.
But that's the inner fire that Sky was talking about. Like you know, you gotta, as a young man, you have to learn how to build that fire. You're still trying to, you have like a little fire going on. How can you add to that fire? What can you add to that fire? Because the older guys are telling you, this is what I did. This is what I didn't do. When I was your age, I had this fucking smaller fire than that one.
Well, I think not just that, but also too not how to contain the fire, right? You don't want it when you're young. You have a wild heart, so
That's a good point.
how do you contain it,
You
right?
know,
You don't want to go burn down the whole forest now.
someone came to the shop and was a young person, and they're all like, "What should I do in my 20s?" Because they like, the opinion and all that
Mhm.
stuff. And I go, I was gonna go, uh, make mistakes with responsibility.
Hmm.
That's what you do in your 20s. I'm not gonna tell you not to make mistakes because if I tell you not to make mistakes, you're gonna do the fucking mistakes in your 30s. Do them in your 20s, but do them with responsibility. Learn. So when you get to your 30s, you're not making the same mistakes that you made in your 20s. So I told that young person, and she digested that. She's all, good point. You know,
But I mean, you've got
you're gonna
time when
make
you're young,
mistakes. You're gonna make
right?
mistakes.
But you
There's
learn from your
unavoidable.
mistakes, Ruben. You
You
learn from
have
your
to, but that's
mistakes.
what I'm saying. Some
If
people
you didn't
don't.
have anything to learn, you wouldn't make any mistakes.
But I've heard young people talk, and they don't give a fuck if they made the mistake,
But that's part of being young,
right?
You
But
feel
if
invincible.
and that's why
Yeah.
and that's what this person was telling me. She's
Not
telling
a
me
bad thing.
what would be the advice? Like she was expecting, or they were expecting, oh, do this and do that, and no, make your mistakes, but with responsibility, because know that your decisions can affect your life forever. So if you decide to have a baby right now, forget about it. You're done.
Hey, Ruben, but think about something, man. Think about the Mexica, like
Not done.
you're done.
Let me retract that. You're not done. It becomes more difficult. You have something else to carry now.
Right,
I
right.
know because I had my children very young.
Yeah, you did. You did. But you did a good job with it, man. I think that I was gonna say too, Ruben, that young people have the energy and the will to run things. And in our world, the elders would send recommendations, and it was the young people that ran everything. You look at Cuauhtemoc, Moctezuma, these guys were 21, 22. Okay, like that energy that you're talking about, our society put young people to work. It was their society. They were the ones running everything, and they were schools. They were students of the philosophy of Mateo, followers of Quetzalcoatl, followers of just understanding the harmony of our society, and just think that they were different because they didn't have money. Every 52 years, our people would destroy and break everything and begin from scratch again. So could you imagine billionaires today if we're told in 52 years you're going to have to give this all up and start from scratch?
But
Imagine how much different they would spend all that money.
but you know what? You want to know why they were convinced to do that? Because they were artists.
I think of many reasons, but you think
And
about it. It makes
artists
you value
artists
things that are, you
artists
know,
artists are creative, abundantly creative. There's no need. It's kind of like when I heard The Alchemist say, "Man, I'll sell beat for $1." And the dude was like, "What do you mean you sell a beat for $1? You're like a famous beat maker. You should be selling them for this and that." He's all, "Because you want to know why? Because I sell that one for $1, but I already made 10. Tomorrow I'll make another 10. Next day I'll make another 10. Next day I'll make another 20. Next day I'll make
right,
another 40. Next one, I'm infinite, bro. I make them."
Well, not just that, but you can't put a price on talent.
right,
But
right.
the point was that he doesn't have to hold on to anything because he's creating it. He's the machine that makes it. This particular sound, this particular art, right? So then if we're taking every 52 years and going, because I can't wait to make my new cup, it's going to have this, it's going to have that, you know?
That just shows how much belief you can have in yourself.
The
Like,
mastery of
exactly.
yourself.
Once you've mastered yourself, you say, it's all good. I don't have to worry about this or that because I already know
I can make
I
it.
can make it again. I could make it better again.
Exactly. That's
Well,
that's
good
why,
knowledge comes from experience,
you know,
and again, let me add
that's
this
why
too, though.
in the past, I don't think that we had a governance and money, and like
No,
money
of
is a
course not.
lazy
Of
way
course
to run a society because the stupid people have the most of it.
not. But here's the thing, too. Wait, hold on. But the thing is, during that
The
52
smartest
years,
people are the ones begging the dumbest people to convince them to make this new idea that will help everyone and it'll sell
right,
so many things, but they're like,
right.
nah.
But understand this though, too. But that
That's a rich dude, right?
Yeah, that's Scrooge right there.
Right? He's like, nah, that's not gonna advance us. Fuck
Wow.
that.
Hey, but here's the thing, brothers. The 52 also tells you how old the temples are. Every 52 years, the society would come together and they'd build another layer. That's how we knew. That's how you could make this temple withstand because that whole year they did everything to build that structure together as a society. And they were proud, took pride in that. And every year, that was something that their ancestors, their future would be able to look at. And it's just amazing if like where we are today and where they were back then, and it's like we're not that far.
And we look at the temples and we go, oh well, they're just kind of stone buildings, but they were painted. They were painted, and you know what I was? Have you guys ever seen in social media this post? Right, I'm gonna explain it using this metaphor, but don't think that I'm talking about this. I believe that this is a somewhat of a perversion of what they learned from us. Right? There was an artist that said, "Oh, I want to paint a painting, and I'm gonna close my eyes, and I want this deity or whatever he was trying to summon to paint the painting. And so he closed his eyes and he kind of just went like this. And, all of a sudden his arms started moving with whatever. And then he painted a painting of, like, he was just like, whoa, what the fuck is this? And it showed itself to him. Now, that's a very perverted way of doing it. But when you do it in the spirit of nature, if you're asking the wind to show itself to you, and you close your eyes and you move and you create the painting, then it's the spirit of the wind that gets transferred onto the paper. It's the spirit that's making the image. So all you have to do is look at the image to feel it. That's how I think they made these beautiful pieces of art with those type of intentions. But they had to find the star first.
Mhm.
They had to know that the count of Venus was 584, right?
Yes.
Was it 584, Daniel?
Yeah.
Yeah, 584. Why? Because that star's there. It brings a feeling, and I do the art. Math, science, art, spirituality. That's who we were. That's who we are. We're very intelligent people.
Too, I also see it like an extension of people because I know when I looked at the Huichol art, man, to me it was amazing that this is for me when I would see it. I would look at the hikura and it was like a bowl and it has beeswax in it. And all the beads, make these designs. And I remember studying, in science, they said the way a bee sees the world. And the hikura, the way it is with all the beads, it's exactly the way a bee sees the world, all these little squares. So I was like, and
Well,
to me, I was like, wow. So I mean, so that when I saw that art, to me, what I understood it to be is that whoever the artist was, they take that energy and they just become at one with this, and then their art is just an outward sign of that. Like for some people, it's a hip hop song. Some people like it's a piece of wood that you
oh, that's
sketch out
that.
and find
This
that
this is a
and it's wherever you but it's like it seems to me because I know for me when I'm printing a shirt, I'm doing something that something takes over me sometimes, and I was like,
Mhm.
wow, that looks and I'm just blown away at what I just did. I do a lot of shirts and that one just looks better to me, and I just feel a better something better about it, and it's just I can't put it to words. I don't even want to try to, but it's just and I told my nephew, I said, watch that shirt is gonna be the first one to sell. And sure enough, it does. It just has something in it that someone who has that feeling feels it, and they go, oh, I want that one. I was like, okay, but and I can't put a word to it, but it's just when I become one with my heart, I guess my heart flows through my work.
think of it like
That's art.
think of it like this, Daniel. Think of it like this. When the energy hits the plant and it releases a flower, it's expressing that. That's what art is. Your full expression of the energy that's given to us by the principal deity of all dreams, which is the
Yeah,
sun.
right, right,
It's the truth. That's the facts. When that energy hits this plant and it releases a flower, it's the full potential of that beauty.
right,
That's what art is. Reaching that full potential, but going into those dark places, man. Right? Using the light that you have inside you.
right, right, right. Hey, man, I like what they're saying in the chat. It's like the spirit animal. When we become the spirit of these energies, man, it's just dope. Because I mean, it's see, like like I imagine the bee, and like I also think about the jaguar, hunting at night, like and just being the predator cat in
That's why the Tonalama, it's important to understand and follow every day. Today's the day of the house. So you should try to keep your house in order.
Mm.
Hey, but Ruben, also think about that concept, dude. We have a symbol for house.
Right.
I mean, just think of our people, man. Like, it's
Like
just
think of when that day it comes, you know, um, it comes around because there's only 20 symbols that repeat in the
right,
13. So they
right,
come
right,
like it comes around. But when you have when you're on the day of the house, right? Then you just think of the house. What we clean our house, we maintain our house,
right, right,
you
right,
know, we beautify our house.
right.
But wait, it's not just a house. Maybe I'm not gonna focus just on my house. I'm a house. I'm housing the energy that I just described that pushed the flower out of a plant.
Well, you
I'm
said,
housing that energy inside me.
well,
This is
isn't
a house.
deep in your temple
Is
is
the hidden temple.
yeah, deep in your mental is a hidden temple.
Clear away the nonsense and unleash
Unleash
your
your potential.
potential.
But
That's
bro, that's just one of many, like there's just a lot of good things for us to, take the medicine and like introspect, But here's the thing too, brother, and I think you got this, man, is you got love in your heart. And when you have love in your heart, it's good for you to expose yourself to people. I'm not but I mean expose that heart energy.
because this world, this society, this country, this narrative, these Americans, they try to
I'm
take
glad the guy understands.
they try to take that love. You know how they try to take that love? They try to take that love by taking my dad and my grandmother away from me.
Right, Ruben. Right,
They
right.
murdered them. They took advantage of them. Even nowadays, you don't think they take advantage of them? Look at them. Fucking working their shit off but they don't even know their children. And I'm
Right.
not talking bad about them.
No, of course not.
Metaphorically,
But I think we're in our
they're
evolution.
trying to take my love.
Right.
And it's not their responsibility to give it back to me. It's my responsibility to take hold of it, be grateful for it, and protect it.
Right.
And
It's
spread
mine.
it. Spread it.
Exactly. But not foolishly. Not foolishly.
Well, good
Just
intentions, Ruben, good
focus
intentions.
it. Focus it. Focus it.
Right.
Because people will drain you.
Right. Right. Of course.
People will drain your love. Your love isn't infinite. Is your life infinite?
Nope.
Because when your life is gone, your love is gone.
Hey, that's the truth, man. That's a sad truth.
Right? Don't be foolish with your love.
Yeah.
Make sure that the person next to you deserves it. I'm not saying that that's been my case, but I'm just saying.
I just love's a good way to approach things, And
It's
it's
it's a complicated topic. I'm sure we'll get to it, one day on LA natives. But I want to focus just on the fact that time is important. We just came out of Nemotemi. We just celebrated at Malinali Plant Based Tasnan. It happens the first Sunday of the month. That spring's here. How are you going to use the energy? What are you going to plant? What's going to grow? How are you going to take care of it? What are you going to follow? These are the questions I'm asking the LA Natives community.
I can see by the chat too, man. People got a real good response, man. I kind of like that we've got a lot of really people that are
Absolutely.
they understand what we say, and I think it's nice is that you can say the same thing 3 or 4 different ways, and it's like I concur, we agree, and even though we may say things differently, we're in the same space, we're on the same planet, and we have good intentions, and so I just, it's a very good, it's a good time to celebrate the new year,
Absolutely. We love you, chat. Thank you for keeping us on our toes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good. Hey, man, but we have some educated people. We got some good medicine. Everyone has their good medicine they bring to the table.
Good medicine to share.
But it's
Absolutely.
always nice too to hear people confirm what you think or what you believe.
Mm.
I know I find that it's good to say, hey, I agree. It's good to hear good things over and over again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thank you, Daniel, for breaking down your knowledge with us. That's all important as we get.
Well, I mean, thank you for giving me a place to do it. I mean, I think LA Natives is a good place for us to, like you said, break the colonization.
The colonial perspective, yeah.
Because
We use our tools to do that. We use our tools to break the colonial perspective because really they're not dominant at all.
The chat is lit.
And really, Ruben, we're not lost, man. We're not lost at all. We're actually
because the land recognizes us.
Yo, guys, the chat is lit. The viewership's high. Make sure you guys hit that like button, share the video, add a comment. Don't hesitate. Call in. Don't be shy.
Exactly. What happened to the interaction from the
crowd? We want to hear you guys call in.
Come on, dude. Somebody has to call in. Somebody call in from the chat. Mondo, show them the number.
It's right there. 665961033.
Hey, but also, the chat's been real good, man. People have been doing
good.
It's always solid, man. People have good feedback.
When we come to the show, man, we come with good intentions. We're not here to debate each other. We're not here to, show off our knowledge. If you have more knowledge than me, I'm more than happy to humble myself and understand and learn it.
Hey, you know what, too, Ruben? I wanted to also say that that book, Day of Destiny, the author's name is John Meany, and so I'll put that up too. So John Meany at the bottom there. And so, yeah, and can I say this book is? We met the author, really, man, super nice guy, and he's an acupuncturist in South Salito, and very Eastern medicine, but just a really this book, man. I tell you, if you get a chance, I think it's still pretty reasonable on Amazon, and then if you get a chance, once you get through that one, man, the next one's even better. That's where I think it's interesting too. Look at this, this is the Aztec Virgin. I always think it's interesting.
Do you have those books available for sale?
You know what? I don't, Ruben. I don't. I have like, if you come to the plant-based line, I'll bring like a couple of the Destiny ones. But the Aztec Virgin, man, that one's super rare. I only have like a couple of them, But you can get them on Amazon. It's just that they're going up every year,
You should do an audiobook. I feel like you'd be good at that.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I said you should do an audiobook of it.
Oh, you're funny. I would love to. That would be cool.
That would
be cool, man.
That'd be dope.
I still talk, we're still in contact with the author, man, but that book is just such a if you don't speak Spanish, it's just so much information, and I mean, it's just science upon science, and he wrote it with a woman, and that woman did all the side stuff. So it's nice too that it's not just him, but it was a team that made that book really just a great project.
Hello. Are you there?
Somebody call in?
Think so.
Hello.
Someone chimed in.
Think someone's chiming in.
Yes, absolutely.
Can't hear him. I can't hear him.
We can't hear them. I could barely hear him.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, but anyways, I'm saying that the books are good, man. I mean, sadly, I can't recommend a lot of books, but I think, man, anything by Arturo Mesa Gutierrez, boy, that guy too. He's just, and I think we were talking about the museo.
Here we go. I think we can hear him now.
Okay.
Bueno.
Bueno, yeah, I can hear him.
Bueno.
Buenas noches.
Hey, bueno. Buenas noches, carnales. How's everybody doing?
Good. Who are we talking to?
Who's this?
This is Josue Manuel calling in from Colton, California.
Colton.
Long time listener, first time caller.
All right. Hey, bienvenidos.
Bienvenido. Madly for calling, joining our community. We have to have more voice. So what's up? How you doing?
Yo, doing beautiful. What an incredible year of Tekbat to kick off with another episode of LA Natives.
Dope.
Thank y'all for dropping so much knowledge and for the community out here really laying out a strong foundation to set this year right.
Absolutely, because we're on the counts. The counts are important. The number systems are important. You know how I learned to try to implement them in my daily life. That's going to be the power. That's going to be the power shift that we need. We have to go back to our roots. And what we mean by that is the simple number systems and but when you use them on a daily basis, then you start to integrate them into your body and your spirit because you're using them in 13 and 20. Just use those two in 52. You'll see that they all start to interlock, right? But anyways, I don't want to take up your time.
Yeah, Josue, man, what's up with you, brother? How are you finding the new year for you?
Oh wow, just potent, the energy, the sun. I am very blessed to have been greeting the sun as often as I can. Again, with the encouragement from Ruben and the whole crew here. And I'm just like in this moment, just a little nervous but excited to just get to
all right.
I know who this is. This is the homie that comes. He goes to plant-based. Yeah. Maravilla, right? With Maravilla?
With Maravilla. Maravilla's driving home right now.
Right on. Shout out to Maravilla. What's up, Maravilla? She's so cool.
Right on, brother.
This brother, man. These brothers are the San Bernardino crew, man. These brothers right there in San Bernardino, they hold it down over there. And we have to link up our communities together so that we can start doing some stuff, man. Really good heart, this guy. He's really cool. I like him. Thanks for calling, Josue.
Brother. Peace.
Always.
But any last words? Or you want to say anything? Shout out to your community.
I think we lost him.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. That's
Anyone
cool.
else in the chat wants to come in and chime in, bro? Thank you so much for being on the on LA Natives chat, and Josue.
I
Thank
love
you for coming in.
I love what he said. Long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
and
That's
he's cool,
cool.
man. He's a part of the community, man. That dude's really cool.
You know what's interesting? I forget that, man, how people are just so, man, just, I don't want to say starstruck, but man, it's cool to connect with people. It's technology. And like, I know myself, a lot of times I feel like I'm on an island, but then this week it's been great saying New Year's, Happy New Year. People look at me like, what? Happy New Year. And then it's a good way to start. They're like, what? It's like, it's a spring. And I was telling Ruben, okay, so check this out. I go to, I take care of my dad. So I go to the 99 market. And most of the time I go there, people I talk to, they're just very limited English, usually Korean, And so
Mm.
I go there today and it looks like a Latino. And I say, hey, hablas español? He goes, oh, sí, hablo. We started talking. I say, hey, ¿dónde viene? He says, he's from Mexico City. I was like, what the heck? I'm at the store and there's a guy from Mexico City, and I'm gonna tell you something, man. That Korean store, oh man, they're always so nice. It's the nicest people, man. Like I just trip out, and so it was just so neat that I thought to myself, man, 'cause I always talk to security for some reason. They always talk to me, but it's like, hey, they don't even. But anyways, my point is that in my world, I met a Mexicano and I say, hey, Happy New Year, and he said, Feliz Navidad. I said, no, Feliz Año Nuevo. And he's from Mexico City. And so I was really tickled. And I say, hey, it's nice to meet you. It was cool. And so that's my life. I feel like that was a win, to see this kid from Mexico City. I was like, okay, it's my little Korean store that I go to, and so it was real cool. That's, to me, I find that it's just a beautiful thing, just a reason to say, hey, how are you
That's
today?
that's the affinity.
Hello, hello, hello.
See.
Hello.
Hello?
I think there's another
Oh.
caller.
Okay.
But that's the affinity, though. The affinity, though, Daniel. I think that's the beauty of the human interaction.
Oh, but brother, I feel like I'm so blessed to still be alive, man. Like I was tripping out my primo hermano. He passed away a year ago. And
Will not be completed because the party you are trying to reach is
oh, something going on there.
I think a private caller was
Got
trying
to
to.
collect call from.
Oh yeah,
Sounded like a girl, dude.
that's funny. That was funny.
Shout out
I
to
don't mean to
Mark
laugh.
Tony.
It's
Shout out
like
to
a
Mark, brother.
familiar,
Hey, but
a
whoever
familiar message.
try to call in, call back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, man, I
It's
just
kind of
try
cool.
to. I feel
Everybody's
blessed to be alive, man.
Same.
And it's the
Every
new
day.
year. I don't know. I
Got
just
to be.
feel. How about yourself, man? How are you, Sky? How are you enjoying the new year?
I think it's a beautiful thing, honestly. I too can feel the spring, and I too have been looking at the sun and the sunset, and it's ever since I started doing that, it just gives a new,
Press 1.
almost like a new, like a rebirth every day.
Yeah,
Every day
that's
kind of
cool.
feels like a rebirth in a sense, and I'm super grateful.
Right
And I've
on.
been going on more walks now too,
That's good.
just enjoying the more simple things of life. Because I think when you're young, you tend to focus on the future a lot, and we kind of forget
Not a
about
bad
the present.
thing.
Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Oh no,
All
we
right.
can hear.
Right on.
We can hear you too.
We can hear you, Hermano.
Hello.
What's up?
You can hear me right now?
Yes,
Yeah, who
sir.
are we talking to? Who's this?
Well, I was in the chat. My name, I'm calling myself Palanquishi.
Oh, Palanquishi. I like to hear you say that. Palanquishi. Well, bienvenidos.
What's up, my bro?
Muchas gracias. Muchas
You
gracias.
always have good things to say, brother.
We love your comments.
Oh, gracias, gracias. They don't only come from me. I think the ancestors are working through me too, just like you.
Absolutely. The ancestors' blood is coursing through our veins as well. So
Oh, you just gave me the
Great
chills,
point.
brother. That's crazy.
Although I got some ancestors in there that I didn't want in there, but I don't know how they got in there. But
I don't know. I like
It-
to look. Look at it like this. You know what I mean? Like when, like what I was saying before. They thought they could destroy our love by taking our loved ones, but they didn't understand that our loved ones can see from the spirit world back
right.
to our world. They didn't understand our concepts of death. So, anyways, the ones that we didn't want in there, we trapped them in there because we're forcing them to be like us now. Yeah, the rapist lives in me. But guess what? I don't act like the rapist. I'm trapping his ass. I'm making him humble.
I kicked his ass already.
There you go. That's how we do it. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
That's how we do it. I'm not. That's not. You're not conquering me by
You know
saying
what?
that.
We are brothers. Brothers always fight, you know. So like foreign brothers, we got in a fight, and hey, I came on top this time.
Exactly.
Nice.
And that's the attitude that we need to have. Those of us that have quote unquote mestizo blood or
Well,
quote
it's
unquote.
natural though. He's right. As brothers, but I think also too, you look in our past, we always have stories where somebody does something wrong, and then there's a story as to why they did, and we're so well versed, and he's right though. You know what I mean? Like we can't be so perfect that we're holding a model that no one can do. That we. I'm not gonna say we flaw, but sometimes like when I was mad, but I learned through discipline to not hurt myself and especially not others, to find a way to
Man, I was trying to be like Jesus Christ, man, but
yeah.
I couldn't. You know, nobody could be that good in this world because I was touched too many times. We're oppressed. We're an oppressed people.
Mhm.
How can we just stand there and take it like Jesus did? No, I don't want to be crucified.
Right.
Does anybody want to be crucified? I don't think.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, that's not
Whatever. So I think we've been conditioned to think like the foreigners came and want us to think.
right.
So now the answers are coming back, and we're on it.
Well, I think what it is, brother, we're in the light. We were in so much darkness for so long, and they took advantage of that. Now the time is right that the sun is so bright now that we can no longer live in darkness.
And
You're
even
so
more
right.
so, and even more so than that, you know, uh, even more so than that, the more practices you put into your life, no matter how old you are, no matter what it is, if you can get into the practices, and luckily Sky's coming in young, where he's just okay. I'm gonna start off with the sunset. I'm gonna start off with the sunrise, right? Or I mean, if you get to that point.
I've been wanting to order your your products, but I used to cruise right in front of the place right there.
Oh man, that's
Yeah, that's a classic. Hey,
Yeah, I went
that
that's
is
to
what
classic.
Amy
high
says.
school before back in the day.
Historic.
Yeah,
It's
that's the
historic right
spot.
there.
Yep, that's the spot.
Hey, I wanted to ask you, brother, what does your name mean? What does your name mean?
You know what? I have no idea.
Okay, yeah, it's okay. Because
Oh,
I'm fascinated. I like what you write. I was like, man, because I always ask that because
I was
you learn,
hoping somebody could tell me. You know, it
Okay,
just
well,
came to me.
So
maybe someone because it reminds me of
we'll see
Palenque,
if the chat kind of responds to it. But anyways, thank you for your call, my bro, and we'll hit you up next time.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you so much.
have a
Thank you,
happy
brother.
New
All right.
Year.
Thank you for
yes,
allowing me.
sir.
Absolutely, brother.
Always,
Continue.
this
So
is your place.
I like what he said right there in the sense that I have some ancestors that I didn't want in there, right? And what do you think he's referencing to? He's referencing to the raped blood that lives inside of the quote unquote mestizo, right? But you know what? As I was saying before, I don't live like them. I don't have their perspective on women. I I have a different relationship with the earth. I'm following certain sequences, certain practices, certain things. So I'm taking that fucking asshole and I'm keeping him inside and I'm making him live like me.
Hey, if there's any women, young ladies watching this right now, give us a call 626-596-1033, right, Zero?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we're forcing those supposed ancestors that live in my bloodline. I'm forcing him to fast for 5 days every year,
Yeah, true.
right?
That's funny.
He's in my blood cells, right? He's in my bloodstream, right?
Right,
I'm
right, right.
forcing him. I'm forcing him to have a connection with the earth because they didn't have a connection when they were raping the woman and injecting their semen into them. They didn't have a connection with the earth. They treat the earth like shit. They treat the women like shit.
Right,
They treat the
right,
water like shit.
right.
But guess what? I get to have them now. And they don't make me live like them.
Wow.
I make them live like me.
Mm.
Hey, too, Ruben, I was going to reference, I think Josue had said in the chat that there's a book by Luis Valdez that says Theater of the Sphere.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I just want to say that if he referenced that book, because when I studied with the maestros in Mexico, their other half was the Valdez family. And so they were part of the teatro group and the teachers that I studied from in Mexico.
Mm.
So, man, anything by Luis Valdez, man, I mean, I don't even have to read it to know it's going to be some good. It's going to
Dope.
be some good book.
No,
Yeah.
Josue does his research, man. That dude's pretty dope, and so is his I think his partner Maravilla.
So you're going to say so. I think that's a good. I know that's a good reference. And again, dude, it's part of it here is for us to just send people in the right direction. And so, um, it's just the sometimes it's just a matter of somebody just setting you on your way, opening a door for you. And it just
Right.
that's how we were. Remember,
That's
we
how
were
we
not
conquer. But see, everyone. Okay, what I was explaining is that how we get out of this oppression, how we fight these systems, it's not just so much feeling and having the identity, but making sure that the their fucking blood inside you, you're disciplining it through your
right. That's a
body,
good way to put it.
through your body.
I like that.
Because if you act like them, then they got you.
You're right.
Then those blood cells got you. Those blood cells are controlling your way. If you're drinking, mis abusing women, have no connection with the earth, have no connection with your children, have no then those blood cells got you. But you know what? When you fast, when you follow the tonapolali, when you follow the tonalama, when you understand your tonal, when you do those things, you're making them live like you.
Right.
That's how we win.
Right.
Because they have no concept of conquering yourself. So you got to make them. Supposedly they live in my blood. Supposedly.
Right. The double
That's the way
helix.
I think that's how we do it, man. I think that's how we conquer, these perspectives, right? This colonial perspective of them having the land or them having the constitution. And I'm not saying that we're going to overthrow governments because that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they're irrelevant. Whether you have it or not, it doesn't matter to me, bro. I have my own connection with the earth because I mineralize my blood, because I fast, because I do these things, because I believe the math, the science, the art, the spirituality that lives inside me that comes back thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. Yeah, I'm not gonna end that.
In other words, it's not hashtag overthrow the government.
No.
Hashtag overthrow oneself.
Exactly.
Or find oneself.
Exactly.
Find oneself, and then from that point,
Yeah, man.
evolve.
That's what they do. What do you do for yourself? That's really what the question is.
But the thing is, it's interesting. Wasn't it Tumex that said that God is in you, but you're not God?
Right. No, he said, remember that remember that God lives in you, but remember that God isn't you. Dope.
Tumex, man. A
Yeah.
great one.
That was a cool line.
I think we need a LA Natives book club because there's a lot of books going on in the chat. We need to.
Hey, share them.
Yeah.
Everybody in the chat, share the information because this is the place, man. We're higher consciousness here, man. You come to our events, man. You come to Teocali event, higher consciousness there, man. When you come to the Catch One and the shows that Mondo puts together for LA Natives,
next level
consciousness. This is the movement.
Right. Yeah, but that being said, I remember
not
reading Malcolm X's fucking autobiography, man. When Fidel said that, dude, that shit. I remember reading that. I read that with like Rain of Gold, like a few books. Man, it changed my life. Weird, man. Like someone who didn't like to read but that autobiography of Malcolm X really got me. And I was in Mexico. I was in Mexico at a health clinic, just like isolated. And man, I just really got in my head.
I started reading that book when I was like 12 years old.
What? No way.
Somebody gave it to me. My neighbor, actually. My neighbors and I that gave it to me.
Yeah, I mean, those are.
Wait, hold on. And you read it? Like you like?
I started reading it. It took me forever, but
I was gonna say, how do you get? I mean,
it took me forever to understand it at that time, but it definitely.
Well,
yeah, I just think it was a good book.
Yeah, those were the references of what we use as our foundation. Because studying Malcolm X is great, studying Bob Marley, studying all these revolutionary things, but you gotta look in your mirror.
Study yourself.
I'm not even talking about like metaphorically. Go look in the mirror. Do that exercise for me, LA natives. Go look in the mirror and see what you tell yourself.
Hey, but you
see what you tell yourself about yourself.
Right. Hey, I'm going to add another book. It's really one of my favorite books. I added that when I was reading it was "Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee" by D. Williams. And the reason I liked it is because it was a very pretty close to accurate account of the natives recounting what was happening to them. And I remember I had a third, fourth grade class, and I had them read that book instead of doing the missions. And I don't regret it, but some of the kids cried. Some of the kids got teared, when they read the story of the natives, and they said, Teacher, is this true?" And they thought it was fiction. It's a tough read, but man, I think it was just they were in third grade. I mean, like, it just, man,
You
maybe I
know,
should have done it to them.
let's not
Man,
get stuck. Let's not get stuck in the tragedy of it, because people who die and don't understand death feel like it's tragic. It's not tragic. You can,
Ruben, it's just
you can,
exposing
you can,
yourself.
you
Learning more.
can transcend. That's what I'm talking about in terms of the spirit world beings. The spirit world ancestors. The Hopis, they say, "Oh, he's wearing a necklace." This from the spirit world, they're spying you. He's wearing a necklace. I see him. I can't see him fully, but I see him. He's wearing a necklace. He's wearing the regalia. That means you're finding your identity. And the spirit world, the people from the spirit world are seeing you. But when you start practicing, then they know where to give. They know where to give the blessing. Not blessing. They know where to give the medicine.
I was gonna say the medicine, right? They
They
see
know where
the
to give the
medicine.
medicine. They know where to give the medicine because they see the necklace and they see the practice. Very easy to spot. You got to work to be that. We all have that inside of us. They should be finding us like, that's how they should be.
I think there's a question for you, Daniel. Does it
Yes,
mean
sir.
anything if my knee was wounded by being split in half at 2 years old by a rock?
I don't know, but I think I'm gonna let you answer that one.
Nah, I don't know. I think that would hurt like fucking hell. God,
Yeah.
come on.
Hey, man, but the thing is that's sadly, wounded knee is a really rough history, for
Yeah.
our people.
That just shows how strong we are. The brothers of the reservations and
Well, Leonard Peltier is
Lakota,
probably the
the
oldest one
Lakotas,
in
the
this area.
Dakotas, all those beautiful people. We're all becoming one now. It's not just them. They're trying to divide us. They're trying to go, oh, let's tell your story now. And then when they're done telling that story, they'll go, well, let's tell your story now. Right? And they're done telling that story and they go, oh, well, let's tell you. It's stupid. We're all one people, man. This is Turtle
Right,
Island. We all recognize each other, period.
right. Amen. Yeah,
That's
it's
how we
not about
feel from Canada. I know because I know Dakota Bear from Canada. I know Drees from Canada. We're all one people. We're all Turtle Island, period. When you start walking in the path and understanding that if you feel lost, the land will recognize you.
right. Amen. That's
When
true,
you
brother. That's you'll never lost if you're on your
right,
land.
and once you find, oh, I'm not lost. Oh, then you'll recognize all your tribe that goes from the tip of Chile all the way to the tip of Alaska because we're all Turtle Island. Remember that.
Right.
This is who we are. This isn't a trend. This is a way of living. This is what you're going to teach your children. I was blessing my children. I was blessing my children with sage. And I told Tlawis, Tlawis, what do you smell when you smell this? What do you think? What's your first thought? He said, you.
That's cool. I love that kid, man.
And
That
I told
kid's
him,
too funny, man.
and I went to
Oh
my
my God.
16-year-old, Dekbat. So Dekbat, can I bless you? I asked him permission because he's 16, you got oh, yeah, go for that. And I said, Dekbat, what do you when you smell this, what's the first thought? When you smell this, what do you feel? What's the first thought? The lodge. I started crying because I'm doing my job. They're not going to defeat me. They have to live like me. If they're inside me, they have to live like me. And I'm teaching them. We all have to teach them.
But Ruben, they're getting the guidance that you never had.
Yeah. That's
It's
why,
beautiful.
that's why I get emotional about it. because they couldn't defeat that. They took my grandmother. They took my father. They took everyone. And I still gave the love that I needed to my children.
Brother, that's so true, man. Like your kids are beautiful, and I trip out over that. I trip out because people think they got, like, oh, we're great parents. You know what, man? You look at your kids, man. You look at what your kids do. You look at what your kids do when you're not making them do shit, and that's who they are. And your
I
kids
love
are
them,
beautiful.
Shout out to TechBot. Oh, shout out to Oline. Shout out.
Yeah, I mean, all
Oh,
your
wait.
kids,
Wait.
man.
How many
All
do I
those
got?
kids, man. It's all good, brother. It's all good. You got
Shout out to
you're
Maya, Oline,
occupy
Cholo,
the land, brother. Occupy the
Aris.
land. We're occupying the land. So it's what you gotta do. And you occupy it with people that the land loves. They recognize your kids and they know,
Well,
oh,
Daniel,
welcome back.
thank you once again for your knowledge, bro. We're gonna probably wrap it up right here.
It's
A
always
good place to wrap it up.
it's always when we're trying to wrap it up, Zero. Where our viewership is at an all-time high. Any last words, Zero, with the audience tuned in, and before Zero goes, make sure you hit the like button, share the video, add a comment. Let's help the algorithm get us to the top. We're only a few subscribers short to 1,000. So get us to 1,000, guys.
We need to push.
Hey, and big ups to Armando, brother. The
No.
Tezcalipoca,
Look,
the unseen. Thank
look.
you, brother, for all you do, man. I
If I
appreciate
could
you.
say something to the chat, in terms of what just Mondo just said, we're not trying to reach 1,000. We're trying to reach 1,300. We're staying in the number sequence, man. We're trying to reach 1,300. Please help us get to 1,300.
Good intention.
Everybody is important. If you think this message is resonating with you, we need to get to 1,300. The next time we come on to LA Natives, it should be at 1,300.
Absolutely.
Share. Get clips of LA Natives. Put it on your TikTok. Put it on. Direct them to LA Natives because this is a movement, bro.
How do you feel about the government trying to shut TikTok down? They just passed the bill, so now all I guess these people in these buildings have to just vote on it, right?
Yeah. Well, they're trying to
Isn't it
censor
like
it.
banning books? Like, fuck, why are they banning this shit? You know what I mean? Like, if we're
Because they're talking about Palestine, they're talking about Israel, they're talking about how the world does not agree with the U.S. and Israel, and they're the only two people that are going after this genocide. Come on,
and
dude.
if you have those thoughts in your head, they don't want you to have somebody saying, "Yeah, we have that."
You know
thought
what's
too.
weird? In the time of the Nazis, they used movies and movie theaters to spread the message of the Nazis, right? Nowadays,
Propaganda.
right? They used the newest technology to hypnotize the people to be on the side of whatever their agenda was. Now they're trying to take it away.
Yeah, but
You
Ruben,
can't know this information now.
it's not the same though, man. Too many people are recording too much stuff, and then too many people are showing stuff that's not the agenda of the fifth part of the government, the media.
Right.
And so too many people have got their phones out, and that's just what's happening. You've got people that are documenting the horrible things that are happening, and you can't say that's not happening. And it's crazy. As our ancestors foretold at this time that the young people are going to make a change, because the world that the old people are living, man, none of us can live in it. And so we plan to be here tomorrow.
And I think the way to defeat systems of this nature is to be focused on oneself and getting the highest potential you can out of your own commitment.
Right.
That's important. You have to make commitments to yourself. You're not a secondary character in this world life. You're the main character in this world. Right? In your own world, you're the main character. So you need to act like that. And it takes discipline. It takes practice. It takes belief. It takes consistency. These are not huge mountains to climb. Simple mountains to climb. It just takes
nothing worth anything though is easy.
It takes the hummingbird to the left. We all have one. We all have a hummingbird to the left, right?
Right.
It doesn't cease to stop beating, even when we're sleeping, even when we're unconscious of it bleed. That's why they call it the hummingbird to the left. Because it doesn't stop. It has a will. What is that will? What is the will you're developing for your life?
Right.
Or are we just trying to find things and go to clubs and have a Beamer and and work for a man and you don't even know you're slaving for someone else? Or are we going to develop our hummingbird to the left, focus our will, and change our community? That's the movement. That's the movement. So I thank you for joining us today, LA natives, and all the chat people. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Sky. Thank you, Mondo.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You know,
Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's.
Take this New Year. It's the beginning. You know, use this energy to propel you forward, to create your reality in a small way and in a big way. The small way would be inside your own Kali. The big way would be in the community. We can focus in those manners. We can focus ourselves. We can focus ourselves to do those things. Right? Because we want to be able to go up to our children and say, what's the first thing you think of when you smell this?
Right.
You're going to think, the community. Imagine the community. How many voices is that connected?
Right.
When the children say, the community. That's what we're focusing on, LA natives, the community. It's the community. We're at the beginning of the year. And so all our energy is in the community because all the flowers are coming out.
Right.
Letting us know that the time is now. The time is here. Use this energy. Put it in your hummingbird to the left. Make a strong will. And create that community because it's not a trend, it's a movement. La Socamatli, Ometeo,